So it's getting recorded, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, it seems that we have done these problems, right? Okay, let's.
Yeah, looks like. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least the
Let's.
first problem, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. First problem. Raise to I think
Mm.
11. So maximum number of balloons. So a string is given, and we have to use the characters of the text to form as many instances of balloon word is possible out of it. And you can use each letter in the text only once and return the maximum number of instances. So for the first one, only one we can form because OO only one it is.
Yeah.
Here two we can form because of O, but here we can't form anything. And it will consist of lower English case letters. Yeah. So what would be the brute force here?
Brute force would be just go through the whole string and then count the number of balloon words. Maybe keep
Uh,
a count of if you have B, A, L, L, O, and something like that.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So you'll strike off the characters once you used because something you will keep as a counter like that you have already seen those O's.
Yeah, something like that. Because I was wondering, like, how do we keep track of that? Yeah, something like a visited or so.
Yeah.
Mm. But that might also be of O of n, right? It's nothing. It can be
Yeah.
done in O of n. We just keep on counting. But what happens if B comes at the end? And so how do we keep a track?
Yeah.
Uh,
So instead of, yeah, go ahead.
I think we need to search for B, then A, then L, L, O, O, N, and every time we find a character, we remove that. And when we reach N, we increment the counter. And again, search for B, A, L. Once we couldn't find the next character we want, we stop that.
No, but what happens if we have N first and B last?
No, first I will traverse the whole string and find B. If I find the B, then again I start from the index one, index zero, and search for A. Then again L, L, O, O, N, like that.
So every
Oh.
time he's traversing that balloon word, right, and searching whether that character is present in this string or not.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah. Every time we start with zero index and find the next character in the row.
But how will you take care four times O is occurring? Like first time you got double O, like one time you form the balloon. Next time, let's say if it is again possible to form the balloon, so
Yeah,
you might have to take some care, right, that you have seen these
yeah.
things. So,
It's a brute force, so we can remove the character. I think, like we can remove and form a new string uh, without that character and go on like that.
Oh. Oh, so he's talking about a brute force in a, yeah, yeah, that's good. But that is like we are trying to create some algorithm to get into brute force, right?
yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
So are the easiest way just keep on counting the word letters, right? The balloon, all of them, whatever they are.
Uh, Encountering there. Yeah.
Yeah. Keep some map, keep on counting how many times B, A, L, L, O, and
Is agree. Yeah.
yeah.
And depending on that, once you find, you reduce the frequency.
Yeah, just look for the minimum, whatever is minimum out of all of them, and then
Yeah,
just return it.
because it will be possible only, but that will only limit the possibility that minimum, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we have to take care of that OO and LL. They are two. We have two O's and two L's in this, right? So we have to take care of that too. So we'll have to see if there is a first O, just increment the first O, and then second O, just increment second O, something like that. Or
Yeah.
keep a counter every time we encounter one O, just increment the counter for the second O, and then revert it back for the first O, something like that. Same thing you do for L also. Just thinking loud.
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, that way only.
Yeah, maybe someone has a better algorithm.
Yeah. So if somebody else do share it.
Yeah, so it's similar approach, like as you discussed, we need to find, make a L and O value should be like uh, it should be in like, if because it's a double, so it whenever it is in a map, whenever we take a minimum value, it should be, we need to consider that it's divided by 2, because we'll be considering that um, as one in a one text balloon.
Yeah.
So yeah, so similarly, I have also did like created a map for this BALON, and then and then uh, and increase the count in whatever the values are in the text, and for BALON, and then at the end I just uh, make the count of L and O as divided by 2, and then took a minimum of everybody which is in the map values. So,
You want to share it?
sure. 1 second. Can you see my screen?
It's coming here.
Yeah. So I don't think this is necessary. I just taking a minimum of it. So just created a map with initialization of 0 of BALON, and then marked if that exists in a text, and then increase that count. At the end, I just divided by 2, so that I should get a minimum count of LOL, including LOL, L and O as well. So at the end, I just take the minimum of all the values, because we'll be needing the minimum. Whosoever is the minimum count, that would be our answer.
Okay. So line and 17 and 18 does the trick for L and O. Okay.
Yes.
Minimum.
Makes sense. Yeah, it looks very neat. Yeah.
Yeah, very few
And
lines
the
of
complexity would be, I think, order of n. No, not order of n.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it is order of n, because yeah,
It has to be, yeah.
for it is I am traversing this.
Yeah.
Yep.
You
And
can't have lesser than this, right? Yeah.
and memory is just these 5
Constant.
constant. Yes.
So one small check where we can add is that if the count of L and O is less than 2, then we can return 0.
Oh, straight away
Yeah.
here. Okay, so
After
like
line,
if
after line 18, if it's less than 1,
Less than 2, right?
no, but she has divided now, so it would be
Okay. Yeah. Basic. Yes.
that won't make much difference to it.
is less than
Less than 1.
1, yeah. Here also. Just straight away return 0.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Makes sense, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's almost similar like what CS presented just now. I'm going through, just I'm removing the duplicates like L and O, and creating a map out of that, and putting, whenever I see a letter, initializing everything with 0, and then for every letter in the text, if you are seen repeating, we increase by 1. Otherwise, here what we are doing is minimum of what she mentioned just now, like the frequency of L and O should be divided by 2, and this will give you the what you say. the number of the balloon letters that can come out of that text.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's mimicking the same
Yeah.
thing.
So the main function, actually, you can put all of them together.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Python, it's
Hmm. And then where do you return? You return min.
yeah, return mean.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. It's on the second line. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's almost same like hers,
exactly.
but yeah, but you are doing that at the last line.
Yeah.
Hmm. Good.
Yeah. You can switch to next.
Yeah.
So this is UTF-8 validation. So here, like UTF-8 will be in the form of 1 to 4 bytes long, and following are the characteristics of it. If it is 1 byte character, then first bit will be 0, and if it is n byte character, then first n bit will be your ones, n plus 1 bit will be 0, and then remaining n minus 1 bytes whose first two digits bits will be 1 0. So this is for 1 bit, first will be 0. So if it is more than what you said, 1 byte, then uh, so it is 2 bytes. So because two ones are there, so it is a 2 byte, and 2 minus 1 is 1. So last byte will have first two character as 10. So since 3 ones are there initially, so it is a 3 byte, and 3 minus 1, that is followed by I mean this will be again 0, like what you say, first n bits will be 1, and then n plus n plus 1 is bit is 0. So this is your 0, and remaining followed by n minus 1 bytes with 2. So 2 MSB will be 1 0. So this is for your remaining, it will be 1 0, and this will be 1 0. So here it's given an array of integers is given to us, and we have to say whether can be converted to UTF-8 or not. So when they have decoded in octet, so you can see first two are ones. So that means it is a 2 byte. So if it is a 2 byte, that means what? If it is a 2 byte, then first two will be ones, and n plus 1th bit will be 0. So here your first two are 1 1, nth bit is 0, and n minus 1. That means n minus 1 is like 2 minus 1 is 1. So for them, first two bits is what you
1
say,
0.
10, yeah, 1 0.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it is forming our property, like validating our property.
So yeah, in this case, in the same example, so when you said it is 1 1 for the first bit, therefore you are saying it's a 2 bytes, right?
2 bytes, yes.
So the second byte is which starts with 1 0. So our
Yeah.
2 byte UTF-8 is finished. So the third one, which is 001, that is a single byte, right?
Yes.
And that is also valid UTF-8 because it doesn't have any preceding 1 0 something like that, right? It is all zeros.
Yes. Single byte will start with 0 and followed by anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean XXX, whatever.
Mhm.
But if you look here, okay, go ahead.
So I'm saying about the second point. Can you move up a bit? Upwards, a bit,
Like
on the description.
instructions you're saying.
Yeah, instruction, yeah.
Okay, so it is like so. I mean, I didn't get what you were about to ask.
Can you the second point, a bit more.
Okay, okay.
So the
So
second
it is.
point,
Yeah, go ahead.
where it says that followed by n minus 1 bytes. So so the first 2 bits of all those n minus 1 bytes would be 1 0, right?
1 0, yes.
Okay.
That's why here it is a 3 bit. So 3 minus 1 is 2. So 2 bytes. So I mean, remaining it will be followed by, it will have 1 0, and it will again have 1 0. Now if it is your 4 bytes because 4 ones are there. So remaining 4 minus 1 is 3. So all those 3 bytes will be first. I mean, the MSB part will be 1 0, 2 bits. MSB. Yeah. Yeah, and if second you go, so it is a 3 byte. Yeah, 3 bytes. So first 3 are ones, and then n plus 1 is like fourth bit is followed by 0 this, and 4 minus 1 is 3. So it should have 1 0 here also and here also, but which it is not sufficing. So it's false, right?
Yeah.
So how you are saying it's 4 bytes? 4 minus
4,
1.
4 no, 3 bytes I'm saying, because this is the first 3 ones are there, no, so it means 3 bytes. Because they have
Yes.
mentioned the rule here. Let's see. For n bytes character, the first n bit will be first n bits are all ones. So first three are I mean, what is it? First 3 bits here are one, so it is a 3 byte character, whatever like number. And n plus 1th bit will be 0, so this is 0. But 3 minus 1 is 2, so
Yes.
this is correct 10 they have, but here they are messing up. Like it should also be 10.
So like 3 minus 1 is 2, and all the remaining should the remaining n bytes, remaining n minus 1 bytes should start from 10. Most
1 0.
significant bit should be 10.
Yes.
Okay.
So it says there will be only 4 such cases, right? If the first bit of any whatever that value is going to be 0, then it will be 1 byte. And
Yeah.
if the first 2 are 2, then it will be a 2 byte. And first 3 are 3, then it will be 3 byte. Or else first 4 are 1, then it will be a 4 byte.
4 byte.
Correct. So other than that, there is nothing.
Yeah, apart from that, then I don't think so any other.
Yeah. So you just have to look for exactly the way he is saying that, right? And then just find out how many number of following bytes are going to be, and then just verify them if they are as per the prefix of 10,
Yeah.
right? For that many number of bytes, and then if it is, then you return true, or if it is, if it's not as per example 2, then you return false,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
So we have to stick to the rules, whatever they have mentioned. That's it, right?
Yeah. So then nothing to do with UTF-8, right? It's only
Yeah.
some
Just
portion of it.
yeah. I don't know how so many dislikes it has got.
Yeah, because they are actually not, because what I thought is when you look for, just can you slightly scroll down?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, here in this, the example, yeah, here, when he says on the second for 2 bytes, when he says 110 and then XXX. So I thought this XXX represents a UTF-8, and wherein the first 2 bits should start from 10, but it is not that way, right? So we don't have to verify anything in the first byte. First byte, we just have to take those 2 bits, 1 and 0, for the second case.
Yeah.
And all the XXs are just to ignore them completely. Don't have to look for it.
Worry about that.
Yeah,
That is their like internal. They'll do whatever they have.
Yeah. So earlier I thought this XXX immediately after 110, they are supposed to start with 10 and then something. But we don't have to verify the first byte at all, other than those 110.
So first byte actually gives you how many bytes that, I mean, what will be the length of the byte?
Yeah, and we just ignore that byte completely.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So in the input, do we have numbers in decimals, or do we have the bit representation given to us?
Hexadecimal there. No, it's a decimal number only. No, 197.
It's a decimal number.
Okay.
They are converting to octet. Yeah, it will be octet only, 8 bits, 1 byte equal to 8 bits.
All right.
Yes.
Only the last eight bits are given to us.
Yeah, last 8 bits are given to us. But they haven't mentioned anything that a UTF-8. No, that's why 8. Maybe because of that, I think.
Because the problem statement, the function, actually the signature has integer as a parameter. Yeah, it's like an array of integer. So that is slightly confusing. It should not be integer, right? An array of integer. It should have been something like an unsigned char or something like that. So it will be of 8 bytes, 8 bits.
8 bits, yeah.
Yeah, but this is an integer which is 4 bytes. So
No, but they have mentioned here only least significant 8 bits of each integer would be used to store the data.
okay, yeah, I didn't see that. Okay, no problem.
Okay, so first thing we do is convert it into binary, and then like talking about the brute force, then we check the rules on each number. Is it that way?
Okay, yeah. That's just like rule. According to the rule, it will be same only, like whatever you are saying. Like you convert it to binary, and then just check how many number of ones are there in your first byte, and
Yeah.
depending on, so you'll get now my then next rule is like whatever bytes you are having, so n plus 1 bits, that should also be 0, and then n minus 1 bytes of them, of those whatever you'll get, their first two digits should be 10.
Yeah, all those n minus one.
Yeah, if it suffices then true or else false. Or any other, like, looks straightforward but little bit.
But then how do you extract those first 3 bits for the second one and first 4 bits for the third one and for first 5 bits for the fourth one?
Yeah, you can count the number of one, no.
Because it is 110, right? 1110 and 11110. So you have to be very careful with that 0 also, right?
We can
Yeah,
maintain
that,
a mask for that, maybe.
Yeah, if you maintain a mask, so you will have 3 different masks, one for these two, one for 3 and one for 4. And
Yeah.
then just look for it, okay. But if you add the mask, and in case if it's an invalid, the first byte itself is invalid, you will have like 5 ones, right? So we won't be able to find that 0. If you have a mask and if you just add it, it will be all 111, and yeah, that might also work.
so mask you are doing to get the ones.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying. So because Harshit said, right, you just find those 3, 2, 3, 4, and 5 bits, and then accordingly you go and look for those 10s in the next bytes. Correct. That is what Harshit was saying, correct?
Yeah.
So I was thinking, like, if you want to do, if you have to go the brute force way, we just look for a mask for those 3 bits first, 4th and 5 bits, and then accordingly just go in the loop and find out how many integers you have for those preceding n minus 1 bytes.
But yeah, how will you count the first 3 bits?
Yeah,
So
that is what I was thinking. Yeah.
So
first,
we when we convert it into binary, we'll be having in Python. I'm saying we'll be having an string form, right?
Yes.
So in string we can count the number of ones.
Well, that is a good option, but do we really want to convert into string? Can we not do it without converting into string?
No,
No, when
it
we
will already
convert
be
it
converted
into
into.
binary, automatically we'll get it as a string in the string format.
Oh,
Yeah. But that's again specific to Python. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah,
whether it
yeah,
will
yeah.
be.
That is specific to Python.
But that's good. You can actually count that. Same thing can also be done over here in C++. But we have that other masking way of doing it, right? So I'm just thinking about it.
so if we take,
Actually,
yeah, go ahead.
so generally, how would we convert integer to binary? So we divide a number with 2 and take all the reminders, right?
Yeah.
So that too we get from the MSB side, not from the LSB side. So if I converting this 197 to binary, we don't need to convert the whole 197 to binary. We just need to convert until we get consecutive ones, and the first 0, when we get a 0 reminder, we stop converting it and we can get the nth bit whatever with that. Then we can move on to next number in the list. right?
Yeah,
We don't
that's
need to
also a
convert.
nice one. Like, so you'll stop the moment you find the first zero, right?
Yeah. Then we get the nth bit and n. Then we can go on try for all the next n. We can see first to divide it by twice and see if it is 10 or 10 like that.
But again, for
So we can,
We have to look MSB, right? MSB,
no,
how many number of ones and then zero and then. So this process, uh, when we divide it by 2, we'll be getting from the least significant bit, right?
no, you will
Yeah,
reverse
that's
it.
correct.
You'll
And
reverse it.
in the worst case, we need to go to till the end,
Yeah.
like a most significant bit to find like it's like we are dividing the whole 197 or 130 to reach to find that full binary number.
Yeah, but that is one way of doing it. But my only worry is if they give an invalid input, integer is more than 8-bit, like more than something 256 or 512, then we'll end up doing it more, like maybe 16 times, 17 times, maybe even 32 times.
I think that check needs to be done before
Okay.
starting, that if
Yeah.
that number is more than, like if the decimal number is like more than this, what say it's a 2 raised to power 197 or like,
Yeah, 2 raised to power 8 or something. Yeah.
yeah, 2 raised to power 8 or something, then we'll not be moving further.
So we just have to take care of 8 bits, right? So the way he was saying, Dilip, right? So we can just divide it by 2 and then form an array, maybe something like that, and just say modulo of that, if it's 0 or 1, keep on collecting for an 8 locations an array. Maybe it will be an array of integer again, just store ones and zeros in it. Yeah. But again, we're taking more additional space and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, time complexity for sure it would be high.
Right. But I would say it won't matter because we just have 4 bytes. Yeah, okay. But if the array is large, like if there are many UTF-8s in that, like maybe hundreds and thousands, I don't know how much they are saying. Yeah, they have not specified that, right? So the integer
no,
can be very big also, the input integer. Because in our first example, they have given 2 UTF-8s, right? One is of 2 bytes and the second one is a 1 byte.
1 byte. Yeah.
So we can have a continuous 4 bytes, 3 bytes, like about 1K or 2K. Yeah, in that case, it matters, right? Okay, that's good.
Yeah. So this array can be more than 4,
Yeah, that is what it should be, right?
Yeah,
but
it
they are
can
telling
be.
UTF-8 can form 1 to 4 bytes.
Yeah, but you can have many UTF-8s in that input array.
Okay. In the array, yeah.
So yeah, we have to be careful about that. What Sonia was saying is right. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, somebody wants to share solution.
Yeah, you haven't coded it?
Yeah, I haven't done it.
Okay,
We'll go
Dilip,
through the discussion.
Sonia, or
no, I don't.
No, I didn't. I actually understand the question now.
yeah,
Okay.
me too. It,
Came from
but I just copied from somewhere else what the solution was.
Yeah, let's go
But
through.
yeah,
Let's see.
but frankly, I really understood it now. That's true.
Yeah, let's see.
at, I was
Parshit?
thinking.
Yeah, Dilip, go ahead.
I was thinking an assumption like what if we store all the 2 power 0, 2 power 1, so on until 2 power 8. And you see, if we, for suppose we got 197, see if first if 197 is greater than 2 power 8, that means at the eighth position of the binary, we will have 1, right? Then we remove that from the 197, and the leftover is something which we try to subtract 2 power 7 from that, and if it is greater than that, then we will have 1 at the second position in the seventh position in the binary way, and so on. We get ones and zeros. Will that work? I was just thinking of.
Yeah, that should work. But the thing is, you have to be very careful with that zero also. So that is that end bit, right? So which says, okay, it's 2 bits, 3 bits, or 4 bits. So we have to look for
Yeah,
that zero also.
If suppose like we got 2 power, it is greater than 2 power 8, we remove that. Then it is greater than 2 power 7 also, we remove that. Then it is less than 2 power 6. That means we will have a 0 at 6th position of the binary.
Yep, absolutely, it should work.
Yeah. Yeah, so that would be like O of n complete.
Yeah, anyway, it has to be O of n. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, one time only is parsing. Yeah.
Right. Okay, I'll just share the one what
Yeah.
I just copied it from this discussions.
Yeah.
Okay, so here they are getting each and every byte. Okay, and this is the variable count. Initially it is 0. Okay, then they find what is that, the first 3 bits, 4 bits, whatever. If it is 1, 2, 3 bytes. Okay, like if this one, whatever that C, if we actually right shift by 5. Okay, so if this value is the same as this value, then it means it's only 1 byte extra we have to check. The same thing for
2
the
bytes.
2 bytes. Yeah, they just shifted to 4 because they are just removing the other bits from that. Right, then you do it for year, or else if you find something more than that, then we return false. So in that case, we take care of that 0 also. Or else we come here and then again we shift it by 6 because we have to check if it is 1 0. If it is not, then return false, or keep on decrementing the count, and at the end, if count is 0, then return.
So count shows, like if count is 1, then it shows that we have a 2 byte input, right?
Right. Because already we have used 1 byte, so we only have to check 1 byte, right?
Right.
Yeah. So
And
it's just
what is this else if in line number 12? Like, why are we taking it as 7?
Oh yeah, because if you have something more than that, if you have just 1 also here, right?
Okay.
So if you have any invalid state, because we just have to look for these 3, and if we find something different,
Okay.
yeah, we return false here itself. We don't have to go and actually look for the other values.
Just a quick, I don't know, it's a question of this is, why 543?
Yeah.
So if you write the numbers, like if you write a 2-bit number, can we go through one example? Can you scroll down?
Yeah.
So let's say it's this number 197. So it's
Okay.
1100 and 101. So if you right shift this 5 times, you get this sequence only 0B110.
But again, coming with that number is not like, I mean, until and unless you have encountered earlier, how will people know that?
So it will be like this 0, 0, 0, 0. So then if we actually compare this number with this number, so you get that value. Because you're right shifting, right? So when you're right shifting, first for 1, this bit will go. Second, this bit will go. Third, fourth, and fifth. So you are just left with these. And the other values will be actually
So
filling it
why,
with zeros.
like we are left with 110, right?
Yeah.
So why 110? I mean, like 5 left. It's why I didn't understand.
Yeah, actually, the way Arshit explained, right? If you have some number this one, if we shift it, then we are just taking this 110. Then why we are taking 110 is because if we look here, okay, we just want to find if it is a 2-bit number, 2-byte number.
Okay, it's for checking how many bytes number it is.
Right. So we're just trying to verify these
5437.
initial values. Yeah. So it should be either this value or this value or this value, right?
Okay.
So we're just trying to see if we get any of them. And if we get any of them, we know how many bytes we have to verify. And if we are getting more than that, we just return false.
Yeah.
So how come we know about that number 5?
Which one?
That number 5, like how come
This-
we know about? Yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
Because we actually
Yeah.
want to
Because
remove
it's
this
a-
5, right? We just
Because
want
it's
to
an
remove this 5.
8-bit number, and we are considering at most like 8 minus 5, like 3
Yeah.
3 bits at the
Yeah,
end.
yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Because we are only interested in the first 3 bits. So we are just moving all those first 5 bits. We are just removing them out of that scope, and just we have left with 3 bits.
Yeah, got it.
So this is what we actually keep on doing in C++. So therefore, yeah,
Used to. Yeah.
we are used to that. I can understand it very quickly. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is an easy way.
Yeah, so what are we doing in the else part? Line number 14.
Line number 14, this one. Yeah, actually we check for this value, right? 10, because if you have anywhere, if you have count more than 1 or more than 0, right?
Okay.
Or any count, we have to come and look for these 1 zeros, right?
Okay.
Remaining
So,
bytes.
for the remaining bytes. If you find them, it is good. If you don't find them, we return false immediately. Because in the second example, we have that case, right? In
False,
this,
yeah.
we don't have this here.
Okay, so this is done for the subsequent bytes, right?
So this
Correct,
is
correct,
like brute force, right?
Yeah, you can say
Brute
brute
force, of
force, or maybe this is the only way.
Optimized also.
At least
everything.
O of n.
Actually, this is
am not sure.
optimized. Why? Because we are finding that 3 bits and 2 bits in only this shifting, using
Yeah.
a shift. Otherwise, if we how we discussed before, that finding this binary digit before and then find the most significant bit, that like converting to a string and then most
Yeah.
significant bit, that would be a costly operation.
Right. Because
Like,
this shifting, is a single instruction in a CPU.
Yes, it is.
So therefore, you actually save a lot of CPU
memory.
clock. Yeah.
Okay.
So this was it.
Yeah, it's a good one.
But actually, if you look for the Python way, you actually convert into a string, and then you count the number of bits, and that actually is more intuitive, right?
Yeah, but again, it's language agnostic, right? Only in Python.
Correct, but
Yeah.
if you know Python well, then you can take that opportunity, right, to explain it very quickly. Yeah,
Python is nice.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Let's move to the last one.
It's like can make palindrome from the substring. So it's like they're given a string S, and certain queries would be given to us, and we are supposed to rearrange some of the character and see whether we can form a palindrome or not. So like if we look at the queries, so 3 to 3, and you are supposed to replace 0 character. So if you go 3 to 3, D falls, and D is a single character itself is a palindrome. Again 1 to 2 BC will fall, which is not a palindrome, and even if you try to replace it with anything, we can't make it a palindrome. Coming to ABCD.
Sorry, I would like to interrupt you here. When you said BC, 1, 2 is BC, that is right. But if you look for it is 0. So you can't replace anything, and therefore he's saying it's not a palindrome. Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry for that. And again, for ABCD, you can replace one characters, and but still I mean, because it's a even length palindrome, right? I mean, even number of characters are there, so both the characters should be even. So, but they have given a restriction that only one character you are supposed to replace. So, if I replace one character, then at least one character will have which is odd. So that will create a problem. We can't form a palindrome.
Right. Because
Yeah.
they are saying that the whole substring has to be palindrome in this case, correct?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And in second case, third queries 3, ABCD, and how many two characters we can change, right? So if we change 2, so their CD, they are replacing it with BA, and it is a even length palindrome. And you can see both A and B will be even number of times. And yeah, you can form a palindrome. And the other, like, you can do the other way around, like AB you can replace with BA.
Okay, so in this case, when they are saying the BAAB, you first rearrange them. That is what he's saying to
Also,
BACD.
when
Yeah,
we
so when
change
you do
to,
that change, are we not going to consume those two, whatever that value is? This was slightly not very clear to me.
or like first, okay.
Yeah, this
Because,
So
is correct. I totally get you because this doesn't make sense because we are rearranging also and then we are replacing also.
no, we
Or
exactly.
are
we are
rearranging. We are not replacing, right? Only one time we are replacing.
But for me, rearranging is replacing, right?
Yeah, no, rearranging is not. Yeah, it can be,
Yeah, you understand
but
whatever they are coming up with. But I would say, like, okay, if you do any change in that letter, actually I'm replacing it. Or else, how are you going to rearrange?
so they are saying first of all to make BAAB they are rearranging B and A like replacing B and A and then replacing CD with AB.
Mhm.
So
Okay, so I think I get this. What they're trying to say is whatever the values you have in it, okay, out of that you should be able to make a palindrome.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
But I think the most easy way would be to go half of it and replace those and see if your K count, if your this count uh,
Yeah.
is as much you are needed because it should be at least this many half like it should be at least half of the string if you want to make a palindrome
Mhm.
the mirror
if
image will try to take care from it
yeah
only.
mirror image I am saying.
Yeah. So yeah, Shashank, then that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. And for the last one, substring is this, and you're supposed to change only one. So A, B, C, D, A can be changed to A, B. They are replacing it. D, they are replacing with B, and which is a palindrome. No other
Yeah.
constraints. Regarding constraints, okay, only lowercase letters. Okay, so what would be the brute force here?
Yeah. So what are the brute force? Yeah. We
Hmm.
will have to go through each and every query, form a substring, and then actually verify for a palindrome. Okay, so the way I would do verify palindrome is use two-pointer approach and
Okay.
start from both the ends and go to the middle. Right, but in that case, it will fail the query what we just discussed about BAAB.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, so that was one thing I thought, but then it's not going to work.
But
So we
again, you have
can't.
to check whether it is even length or odd length palindrome. Like D is an odd length. You may have even length
But
also.
then if I'm doing it using a two-pointer approach, I start from those two extreme ends. That should take care of even or odd, right?
I think we'll
That
have to
would be
like.
the extra check we can make like if our length is uh, odd and our
Even or odd,
very
okay.
yeah.
Hmm.
There is one
But
algorithm, right? No, standard algorithm, like from the center of the string we expand to the left and right. I'm not able to recall the name.
Yeah, I got what you're saying. Yeah, but
Longest
that approach is
palindrome.
like odd and even. Like either you should start from the if it is
Center.
even, then you need to start from one ahead,
Yeah.
and odd is like from the same place. Yeah, I got that algorithm.
okay, yeah. So you start from center and then just move to the end. Yeah, that also is fine. In that
Yeah.
case, you can take odd and even and take care of that. But again, that will fail on that case, what we were discussing about that query 3, right?
Third query.
Yeah.
Be- because we can rearrange the substrings, I think brute force would be finding all the permutations of the substring and see if one of them is a palindrome, or with the extra replacing we can make it a palindrome.
Yes, I think that
I
would
don't,
be a
I
good
don't
brute
think
force.
we need to kind of go through all permutations, like, because first thing what we can check is that if the count of each and every character is even, then after rearranging we can always obtain a palindrome from that.
No, but then how do you go for a rearranging, right? Because it's just talking about brute force. So then how do you rearrange? Like,
So we don't have to rearrange. We just have to tell whether it is possible or not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but how will you'll have to check it now. I mean,
you'll
like
have
event length we are saying. So how will you
Yeah.
take care of characters within the event length should be even, right?
Yeah. So that I'll count. That I'll go through the entire string and count for every
Oh.
character.
Yeah, so that would be an efficient way of doing, but we were just thinking of brute force, which is very difficult to come up with in this case, right?
For this year. No,
Yeah.
then that permutation one only. I think some.
Yeah, the
for
permutation one Dilip saying. But still, coming up with the permutation one, coding it is more difficult.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
for saying sake,
So
it's good, right?
backtracking comes in there.
Yeah, backtracking might be useful, absolutely. But you'll have to do it for each and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So you're saying that we generate permutations and check for each of them whether it is a palindrome or not.
Yeah, it's a very
Yes.
clumsy way, but yeah.
Yeah.
Then what else you can do for a brute force? That is what we are thinking. I know it's not it's totally useless, but still, first if you have to start with the brute force, but it's in this case very difficult.
Yeah,
It's
and
more
that also
difficult than the normal
Uh,
solution. Yeah.
that also I think won't be suffice, because let's say we don't get a permutation which is a palindrome, then we'll have to check this k thing. We can replace this
Yeah.
Oh,
k.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah. For every permutation, we have to check if it's a palindrome or not, and if even with the k replacement, we have to check. We have to validate with the both the conditions for
Then
every permutation.
you'll have to again check with the case, so it will be exponential.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you again put
Yeah.
two of those characters for that permutation, replace them and check again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will create like a mess. It will become.
I just hope that if I say the solution, the interviewer does not want me to code this.
Yeah, that is what I was thinking.
Yeah.
You will just leave the optimized
What if,
solution and ask us to code that.
Yeah.
what if he says to code us?
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
That would be even tough.
Yeah. Because going by the permutation approach seems to be overkill, because we just have to check true and false. Yeah, for a brute force approach, this is okay.
Mm. But the classic case of actually going for a brute force and not able to come up with any implementation. Yeah.
So for theoretical
And
purpose.
here,
Okay, go ahead.
like if you have ABCD as our substring, then why should we go for? I mean, we can just take this string ABCD and try to see the K and BA is there, right? Whether we can form or not, we can check. So why should we go for BA, AB first, rearrange and then replace?
Yeah, right. That's not needed.
No, the
Yeah.
why,
So then it makes. I mean, when this rearrange thing comes up, maybe it would be complex. But if we consider only the first case, I think. Even with brute force also there will we not need any permutation thing.
yeah, in that case, you just go and look for the way everyone was saying, right? You start from the middle or you start from the end and look for a palindrome.
Yeah.
something like that. And just compare if the number of case, just exclude them and just check if the others are in the valid place, valid indexes.
So
Yeah.
Kranti wants to say something.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Kranti. So I heard about like using backtracking, we can solve it. I'm unable to visualize it, how it is. Can anyone explain it?
I said backtracking because we can generate all possible combinations of A, B, C, D string, right?
Commutation.
Then, yeah, permutation.
Yeah.
And then check whether it forms a palindrome or not.
So for calculating the permutation, you will be using backtracking.
Yeah, we use the concept of backtracking. Yeah.
So it's like the DFS approach. You keep on recursing, and
Yeah.
then every time you take one value and then check for other values, other letters if they fall in that. If it's not falling, then discard that first one. That is what backtracking will do, right? Then you again move to the next one.
It's a DFS only kind of.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, in this case, we won't be able to go in that direction. So let us go to the optimized version, what we should have be doing here, right?
Exactly. So how to improvise it?
One thing, we are talking about the even length and odd length, right? So if we take the count of each character, all the counts of each characters, and if it is we can allow only one odd count, and all has to be even, right? So we can have at least one odd or zero odd. That would give a palindrome. We don't need to differentiate between even and odd length.
So no, but in odd length, in even length, you can have only one element with odd occurrence, right?
Even length, yeah, odd length, we can have one element with one
odd length,
with odd count. Yeah, so we can have it either zero odd count or one odd count.
Odd count.
So we take the substring and we take the count of the substring and see if it is zero odd count or one odd count. Either of them is a palindrome.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about all the odd counts. If we are able to, if the k value is greater than half of those odd counts, then we'll be able to obtain palindrome.
Yeah. So extra k.
Okay, but yeah, that is correct. But are you saying just you are going to look for 0 and 1 value for that odd count, and if you find that, then you are going to return true or else false, right?
Yeah, in that case, yes.
But how do you do that? I'm not getting it.
So for example, like if we take this, which one? Okay, third query, right? 0 to 3. So that was A, B, C, D. So for example, we take the count of A, B, C, D. So that would be 1, 1, 1, 1. So we have 4 odd lengths. So basically, we cannot make a palindrome. Then we can see we have a k value with which we can make half of the odd length to other half of odd length. So that would make us this whole odd length to even length. You got my point, right?
Okay.
We got that. So if that, and we can make a check that if our the k which they have given and whatever the answer we got, like if we go to the half, if k is greater than that half, then it is possible that it can be a palindrome. Otherwise, it would not, because
greater than or equal to.
yeah, go ahead. So yeah, that can, but the only question is we are computing again and again that values, counting those values again and again, and that can go to the TLE.
Yeah. So okay. So for that we can use something. I use something like prefix count. Like I can say a code later. If some other
Yeah,
approach.
and one thing, Dilip, as you said, for the 0 count and the 1 count,
Yeah.
I don't think we'll have to take care of this separately, because that entire our code will take care of this only.
I didn't get your point.
Okay, so when somebody will show the code,
Okay. Yeah.
No, but in this case, I am not getting it. Like if you have the case for that query 4, you have A, B, C, D, A. I understand you'll have A count 1, B count 1, C count 1, D count 1, and again you have A, right?
Yeah.
So how are you going to go back and, okay, you are going to keep it in a map?
Yeah, it would be in a map, and it would be like a frequency count. A would be the key, and the count would be like it's 2.
Oh, okay. Okay. No, that's making sense. Yeah. Okay, then that's fine. Yeah, good. That's good then.
Yeah, somebody wants to share?
Yeah, I can say I did something different than the plan.
Looking at everyone shifting to Python, I think I should also shift to Python now.
Yeah, nowadays.
So my approach is so basically I told you, so we take the substring and see if it has a odd count, and if we can utilize that odd count with the k value, right? So for that, what I'm doing is first I'm trying to conduct this construct this char diff. It's like a map of counts. So one extra one optimization I did is instead of calculating the count for the substring when we got the query, initially I'm maintaining this list called prefix count, which have a map which consists of a length of string map. Each one have a count up to that length. Like let me print this and okay. So this I have a length of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Five length of I have 5 maps in this list. Okay. So first map is this one, which have
it is given
okay.
all of them. Okay, A to
Yeah.
C.
So first map, this map up to this point has a count as 1. Then we have second map which have b count as 1. So that way I have 5 maps in the list which contains the count up to that index letter. So it's like prefix sum we do, right? We find the sum of some subarray, so we subtract the up to that index with the left index minus 1. So I have this all calculated prefix count. Then what I'm trying to do is this validate substring. If it is valid, then it will return true. So what this validate substring is trying to do is first it is trying to create the substring dict. So what this does is so I'm subtracting the counts of right index with the left index minus 1. So if it write for this example like 0 to 3, I will take this one 1 to 2 with 1 to 2. So I will I will have second map. I'm subtracting with the 0th map, so that I will get the count from 1 to 2.
Okay.
So that I don't need to compute every time the counts up to that substring.
Yeah, but in that case, the sub str underscore dict. So for the example, what you said 1, 2, 0. So what are you going to get? Are you going to get the values of A and B?
No, I'm getting the whole map of A to 26. See, this is a function that
Right. So you'll get the whole A to Z, but you are going to get the values of A1 and B1, right? In that case.
With BC as 1, right? And all others 0.
BA also.
Oh, sorry, BC. Yeah. Okay.
1 to 2.
And why you're doing -1 here? Like
so that because this
on
odd
line number
length count.
16.
Yeah. So that because I can have at least one odd length, right? For the odd length subtree.
Okay.
So I can have one odd count extra. So that's why I'm starting with -1. I'm incrementing that. So for every odd, after I get this substring subtract something, so I'm taking all the odd counts starting with -1. So that if suppose for example my substring is an odd length substring which can have at least one odd length, so that would be compensated by this -1.
No. I think she's talking about on line 16 when you say query 0 minus 1.
Yeah. So I need a sub. For example, I have something like this. 1,5. So if I want have a subarray sum of this 2 to 4, and if I have prefix sum like this 1, 3, 5, 6, 9, right?
No,
six. Prefix sum.
6,
1, 3, 6.
Okay. 6,
No, 1, 3, 6.
Okay. 1, 3, 6. And
10, 10, 15.
So if I want to have a subarray sum of 2 to 4, I need to subtract from this 10. I need to subtract -1 index, right? Until left subarray. So from 10 I need to subtract 1 so that I will get 2 plus 3 plus 4, which is 6, 9. Yeah. So 10 minus 1 is 9. So I need to subtract. Even this 2 has to be in my subarray sum.
Right.
So that's why I'm removing the left part.
Clear,
Same way I'm decrementing 1. So I want the counts of 1 less than that.
Yeah.
What advantage you are getting out of that prefix sum?
So that I don't need to count the characters in every substring.
You remember Sonia said like if you do it for each and everything, it's going to hide the TLE, right?
Oh.
So he's trying to do it everything at once, and then he's just using this prefix sum to get the values. Yeah. So what does the subtract underscore dict does? Because you still have to subtract.
Yeah. So I have a map of count until this 2, and I also have a map until count of 0 index. Until 0 index, we have a count as 1, all others are 0. And
It's
until
like a cumulative, like you have like how we do or a prefix something. You have a sum or something from 0 to 1 range, 0 to 2 range, like this. Count.
No, I will have like n map. Length of the how much is the length of the string, that many maps I will store, and each map
I think you have 26 cross n. That would be your size, right? I think your prefix array is of dimension 26 cross n. But n is the length of the.
Yeah. To answer Sonia's question, he is doing a cumulative sum for each and every value.
So here we have 5. So 5 into 26 length. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you are doing subtract dict, I understood what you're trying to do, because you're trying to remove the values of the previous index, from the last one. But are you not still traversing the whole array here?
No, I'm not, right? Like I have the map of 2
Yeah.
index and I have the map of 0 index. So I'm just subtracting the second index map with the 0 index map. So I get the count of 1 to 2.
Okay, got it, yeah. But you still have to do some computation, but it's not that exhaustive. We will be doing
Yeah. So,
the normal way. Okay.
so then I get the odd
Dilip,
count and see if it is query of k into 2. Yeah.
Yeah, in line number 16, you are doing query of 0 minus 1, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what if the query of 0 is 0, then you would be doing 0 minus 1. So wouldn't that be going out of bounds?
I handled that here. Like if it is IDX, IDX index 1 is less than 0, I just simply return the index 2 count.
Okay.
Like from the start.
And one more thing,
Yeah.
you can carry on. Right?
Yeah. You can.
Yeah, so as I was saying, even if you initialize this odd count to 0, it would work.
Okay.
Because as you said, odd character with one out. I mean, a one odd count we can afford, right?
Yeah.
Or 0. So if you let's say our odd count is 3, right?
Okay.
So what we do is we do 3 by 2. So that is 1 only.
I'm not doing anyway 3 by 2, right? Like,
So
I'm
this
not,
place, line number 21. So you have taken that 2 to the other side. So essentially the inequalities odd count by 2 should be less than or equal to k, right?
Okay. Then what if I have 4 odd counts and
Yeah.
like 5 odd counts and my k value is 2?
Yeah, so it would work. So if you have 5 odd count, so what we do is 5 by 2, that is 2, that is less than or equal to 2. So that would be taken care of if you initialize odd count as 0.
Okay. You're doing, I can, instead of multiplying, I can do subtract, division, so that it works. Yeah.
No. So can you just change this to 0, line number 17, and run the code once?
Yeah. I will do that. I'm getting wrong answer.
Yeah, just stop that. Anyway, yeah, it is not.
Okay. But
Maybe what you said works if I divide it by 2 instead of multiply.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
different
what
way
you
of
said
doing it.
works,
Yeah,
but-
it's, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it works.
So you got 78%. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm returning the count less than or equal to this k value. That will be true or false. So that's how I construct this result list and return that.
Yeah, this is good because sometimes this putting any value, initializing any value to a -1 or something, it's it's like very different. Yeah. So usually you initialize it to 0. Yeah, but because we are used to it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Runtime is too much, right?
Sorry.
Runtime.
Oh, you are getting 78.33%. What else? That is a good one.
Yeah, 78%. That is compared to others, right?
But that is what you can't get better than that. So
I think in
maximum.
Python sometimes it's always like this.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Yeah. The other thing which I was thinking over here is instead of taking a dictionary, how about if we make a like array of 26?
Yeah, even that I can do. I just want like
And
character.
that would be because why I'm saying because it would be like a particular cumulative sum problem, like a DP problem, where you are taking a array with these range, and if you need to find number in that particular range, then just go with that indexes and just take as a profit.
But he is doing a dictionary. It's almost similar. Like it's an array of lower characters from A to Z. Correct.
Yeah,
It's
but
almost the
yeah,
same.
so yeah, that's also, yeah, that's totally same. I'm just like giving a relation to that problem with this, like, because that's also we are doing a cumulative and prefix, finding the prefix of it, sum, and here also.
Okay. The DP one.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, now it makes sense. Yeah, we can have a state and other state, and so we can have what we want the results between those two.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that,
it makes sense.
yeah.
I didn't look that. Yeah.
I think in C++ that is the way, I believe. We'll have to maintain a 2D vector.
2D array.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, anyone has any? You want to share something, Harshit?
I have the same solution. I've just used that DP array.
Okay, then possible. Can we go through it quickly?
Okay.
Or anyone else? Yeah.
I think even Shashank's approach was a good one. I could.
Okay. Maybe after this we'll go.
Harshit is going, right?
Yeah, it will clear those bits. So I've taken a 2D array. So I've taken a 2D array as my number 6, and it's 26 cross n, where n is the length, and I am setting each character. Like if I go to the current, say I'm using this. So if it's if I is 1, then it would be B. Then I check whether that is there in my string or not, and I add it. Like if it's the starting of my string, and I simply do this. So this is kind of the base case. Otherwise, I go one character back of that string and add for that particular string.
Okay.
And
So
the rest
you're
part-
just adding one. Okay, you're just incrementing the count if you find 2 duplicates. Correct.
Yeah. So let's say I am on I equal to 3. So I am iterating for 4 D right now. So I equal to C is I equal to 3 is the D.
Mm-hmm.
So I check. I go to my string. So it's not my, if it's my first index,
Mm-hmm.
then I check if this S of 0 is D or not. If it's there, then this would be 1, and I would add it in my DP array. Otherwise, if it's some other, if I'm at some other position in my string, I have this. So this is the count of I in my string from 0 to j minus 1.
Okay.
So I've mentioned this here.
So the outer loop, actually you're traversing from A to Z, and
Right.
for every time you take first alphabet as an A, then you go through that whole S, from J to N,
Yep.
correct? And then you keep on incrementing the values. Okay, I got it. Yeah.
The rest part is almost the same. So I enter into this query array. I iterate over these characters, and I use this DP array. I had not done that this left minus 1 part. I had handled this character separately, because as Dilip was explaining, we have to go one step back in a prefix array to get that leftmost character. So I'm handling that here.
Okay.
Otherwise, it should have been this left minus 1, and I should have checked for left. If it's 0, then I would have done this only, like the way he was doing for index. If index is less than 0, then only this part would have been given as the output.
So what is 37 doing, like unmatched count by 2. Oh, required conversion. So,
Or
yeah.
is comparing with the key. Okay.
Yeah.
If this holds true, then I would push back to.
Yep. I never thought this way. You and
Yeah.
Dilip came very different. Yeah. I think, yeah, you
One,
both guys share your code in the Discord. Yeah.
So I
one
think
is
this is
DP and the other is.
Right. Yeah.
I think Dilip is also handling it the same way. I mean, we have to do this part only. I don't think there's any other option to kind of.
Mm-hmm. But the way you are actually creating the cumulative or the prefix from line 10 to 19, it's slightly different than the way he is doing it. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Okay, good.
This is 26 cross n, both the things, time and space.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah.
It's borderline. So
Mm-hmm.
so it would be 26 cross this. So I found a pretty amazing solution which was running in OFN,
Mm-hmm.
and that was
OFN?
doing in bits. That was using bits.
Oh.
Yeah, they are somewhat calculating XOR prefix sum and
Mm. If you do a XOR, then yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of ways to do. If you are having a bits, then you can do a XOR.
But can you explain this one, like how? I mean, I couldn't get.
Yeah, we can go through this. It took me time, but yeah, I mean, it's really well written. Let's take an example. ABCD. So he's maintaining this vector PS, where he is gonna keep a mask corresponding to each character as the starting element. So first he's gonna check for A. So we come in on this line number 49. Our mask is 0, and we do this 1 left shift C minus A. So C is A here. So A minus A is 0. So this is going to be our mask is 0, and one left shift. This part is going to be 1.
Yeah, I can tell you, I have done that. This part.
0, right?
It will be 0, 1. Wait, let me tell you the prefix XOR. It will be 0, 1, 3.
0, 1, 3,
7,
7,
15, 14.
15, 14. Okay.
Yeah.
But we need that bit Okay, we'll go through. So he does this for every bit. So basically, he's maintaining a count. So let's say if some character comes twice, so for that position, the bit would be 0. So if we have A here, so initially we had this mask 0, 0, 1, right? Because we are doing mask. We are doing this mask is 0, and then we are XORing with this. So this XOR this would be 1, right?
0. Oh, sorry, 1. Correct.
So initially on the first character, it's going to be 1. Now let's say we come to this second A. So again, I would go and do XOR with this mask.
Okay.
So it would be this XOR this. Sorry. So this would be 0. XOR of these two.
So this XOR operation we are doing to check whether any duplicate character is present or not, right?
Let's say count. Basically, if the count would be odd, then that position would be 1, that bit.
Yeah, but what she says is right. If it's a duplicate, then you are just going to cancel it.
So
Right.
my doubt is like if we have A, B, C, D, A, so A is occurring twice, right?
So XOR will be 0 for that.
Yeah.
But you said here some array, some 0, 1, 3, 7.
That is
There
the
at A
prefix XOR.
positions.
Like from
So
starting, we are XORing and accumulating XOR.
Oh,
That array it is. Yeah.
yeah. So the first element in this
hmm?
so the first element in this PS vector would be this 0. Next would be 0, 0, 1, and then it would be 0, 0, 1, 1, and so if it's B,
0, 111, something like that.
yeah, 0, 111, and then it would be 1, 1, 1, 1, and the other
14
would be
and then 13, I guess.
0.
Yeah.
Chunk is this.
So we are XORing as well as
Clubbing. I mean,
Yeah.
7, 15, 14. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and
last
he's
one is-
adding the values. Yeah.
Last is 14, 8, 4, 12. Yeah, it's correct. 8, 4, 12, 2, 4, 2. And second last is 15. Okay, correct. Fine.
So this would be our this vector,
mm,
PS vector. Now this is the pre-computation we are through with. Now coming to this part, this line number 61. So this function, what it does is it tells you the number of set bits.
okay.
Yeah. So basically, this is a one index vector. Because, this is kind of useless to us. This element.
Mm.
Okay. So now what we do is we kind of we XOR these two masks, this and this. So let's take an example.
Yeah.
Yeah. So same case what Dilip was explaining, right? So you go to the previous.
Yeah. So let's take 1, 2.
But you are going ahead here in this case. Okay.
So our this is PS Q1 is 1. So we'll go to PS of 2. So PS of 2 is this 0, 0, 1, 1, and sorry, I think I've done this wrong. So the Q of 1 would be 2, right? So this should be 3.
1.
And PS of Q of 0 is going to be PS of 1. And that is 0001. So now if you XOR these two, so we get this 0, 1, 1, 0. So this corresponds to PS
6.
6
No, he's
or,
just counting the set bits. In the case line 60, odds will be 2.
yeah, it would be 2. So basically this shows that we have B and C in our substring 1 to 2, right? So this
Yeah.
is this.
Okay. Uh-huh.
So you are chopping that part right from the
Yeah.
depending on the index.
This operation helps in that one.
Okay,
And what
XORing
is
and doing this.
Hmm.
We are using XOR 2 times.
yeah, but still it O of n only.
Yeah, but the other approach, what Dilip and I presented was 26 cross n. This is just O of n.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And here what you are doing? 67.
So if this is, so if we have this value, right? It's the same thing. This is k. Q2 is k. So if k is greater than or equal to odds by 2, then this would be true, and we would push back true in our vector.
He's just
So this-
creating the
so-
results. Yeah.
So he is checking number of ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
In 66 line.
Because now the number of ones only are of the odd values, correct?
Yeah.
So whatever the odds letter are remaining, they will be number 1.
So number of ones after doing the XOR he is checking.
Correct.
Yes.
So
When-
but
when
in
you
BC
do
the
the
number
XOR
of ones is 2, right?
Yeah. So
And-
yeah, when you do this XOR, you get this 0, 1, 1, 0.
Yeah, now you are checking how many ones are there, right?
That is done by this function. So we have 2 ones. So basically those two correspond to odd counts.
I didn't get odd counts.
Okay,
like
pop count does the count of set bits, right?
Yeah. It's just counting the set bits. Yeah.
Okay.
The last line I was like confusing odds by 2, like
Because
This
okay.
line or
Yeah. He's saying why are you taking odds divided by 2?
yeah. What is like, I mean,
So because if you have any number of odd values remaining and you
Okay.
have k value, so you have 2k, whatever the k's are, if you can actually change half of the value of that remaining odd values, right?
yeah.
So therefore he is comparing that value. Q of 2, it should be greater than or equal to odds divided by 2.
True.
If it is true, then he's returning true. Actually putting that in that rest array.
Yeah. And
So
last,
like
yeah.
ABCD, we have four as our odd, something like that.
Right.
For example.
Right. And if you have k equals 2 in that case,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Then it can be true.
Yeah, it will be true.
Harshit, in line 53, you say the first element in this PS vector is 0, 0, 0, 0. But I don't see you're directly pushing 0, 0, 0, 1, right? I can't see where you're pushing that first element. 0, 0, 0, 0.
No, he initialized mask equal to 0, right?
Okay, but he's not pushing it into vector. That is pushing one left shift of t minus 0.
But actually, PS is initializing to 1.
Okay.
So you already have PS of 1 value already in it, which will be initialized to value 0. And then from line 52, he's pushing the new values in it. So he has already initialized one value to 0, 0.
Okay. Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah, that's the C++ way of doing it. Yeah.
I thought you were pushing into 0 index, even the size was 1. But okay,
No.
default. Okay.
Yeah, so this is it's very optimized way.
Highly optimized.
Yeah, but the thing is in Python we can't do it this way, right? Because
No, we have
don't.
We
same
can
thing.
do it.
I
can
saw
do
the
that?
code in Python exactly the same. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Santosh, you are telling why can't we do this in Python?
Yeah, I was wondering when we should. It won't be possible to do it in Python.
No, we can do
Which part?
all these operations, right?
Really?
Lesser
Okay.
number of
Big
codes
part.
you'll have compared to C++.
But can
show
you do an XOR version?
Yeah, I'll show
Sorry?
you.
XOR.
Zor, yeah.
Okay,
Zor.
Zor is
Yeah.
present.
Okay.
This is what I took from the solution. But this.
But
This
coming
is the
up
Zor
with
operator.
this Zor is difficult, right?
Yeah, it's very difficult. Absolutely, I agree.
And this is the value that I generated like after doing the Zor operation, prefix Zor. And just we are converting it to binary and checking whether the number of ones present in this is less than your 2k plus 1. The other way he was doing like dividing by 2. That I was not getting at that time.
So you did it in only 5-6 lines of code. Okay.
Yeah, that's the.
Oh.
It's a generator function on yield. Yeah.
So what is this yield doing on line number 6?
So yield is like a return function.
Kind of. Yeah.
I didn't
So
get
whenever
that.
so in functions we have a return statement, right? The same thing yield also does. Whenever we request for something, it will return that. For example, on line number 15, we have d of l or a d of r plus 1, right? So what generator function is memory efficient. So whenever we request something, only that part will be returned. It's not like it will store whole thing. Like 0, 1, 3, 7, 15, 14 will not store whole thing in the cache or memory. Whenever we request something, this generator will only return that part. It's like a lazy loading. unless we request something, it won't return. So
Yeah.
yield is like a return statement.
There are a lot of new
And
concepts.
Yeah.
uh, generators can preserve its state even after returning something, which is yield.
Yeah.
And even after yield, it preserves its state and resumes from that state.
Yeah.
It's very powerful.
So
It seems.
where
Yeah.
if we have like some 10,000, I mean some lakhs of data, so everything we can't load up in the memory, right? So whatever required, we can just load till that part.
Basically used in machine learning, these things. Very rare in your, what you say, coding.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it looks.
So this
Yeah.
is a lot.
Seems interesting. Yeah. Need to start learning this then. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, me too.
Yep. Yep.
I thought of learning C++.
No, but machine
Or
learning and all
Python.
these things is the future, right? So should go for this one then. Yeah. Yeah. So Shashank, you also share the code because I would like to understand some of the stuff. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
In Discord, I'll.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what would
But all
anyone
these
want to
things, like,
discuss? Mm-hmm.
I think internally C++ might be there only now. These are like on the surface level, I'm using
Yeah.
Python, but
Mm-hmm.
internally it might be
Yes.
converted to
Close
C++.
to the machine. Yeah, because for any question C++, Python gets four times the time.
Yeah.
To,
Yeah.
Normal. Yeah.
No, Arshit, but what is Python very different about? They have that functional programming in it, right?
Yeah.
So it is very good to understand those concepts. So need to pick up some language and go in that. There are some things which we can actually do in C++ also, but these guys already have it, right? Because they started from that perspective. It's not the other
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
yeah,
So more
talking
of
about
a in scientific community, Python is used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so Scala is another language where functional programming is heavily used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And
no
nowadays,
one in our group, no one uses those languages, right? So at least we have some people using it, so can understand it much better and relate it.
yeah.
But I see these companies, these FANG companies, they are completely okay with